Well, this is awkward. Welcome back, JP, I guess.
It's nice to be back. I I got rid of the other co-host. You won't be hearing from him for a while.
I
What did you
That's all
do
I'll
to
say.
our new and improved
Where is he?
co-host?
I don't know. I don't know.
I've
We
been
were
trying to
just
text
starting to
him all
gel,
night.
man.
I didn't even
He's
invite
gone.
you to this. I don't even know he got the invite to this meeting.
Unbelievable. We were
I
just
don't
starting
know.
to gel. The chemistry was there.
It was
And then JP ripped it all away from us.
it was a
You
good
know what?
flow.
You gotta do what you gotta do. He did his best with the positivity, but no one can replace my positivity. So, you know, I gotta do what I gotta do. What's best for me, you know?
No one could replace Jerry Pagula on this podcast.
That's right. That is right.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack today, and some good, some bad. Man, has it just been up and down like 48, 72 hours from Saturday to tonight on Monday. Just like the most whiplash in terms of Buffalo sports. I mean, God, it's been a tough day. It's been a very tough day.
That
Yeah.
happened last night, and now you're making us record a podcast about the Buffalo Sabres.
This is what we do.
Can it get any worse?
This is what we do.
I think the first thing I said this morning when I woke up was, I wish I didn't wake up this morning.
Jesus. Hey, if you're a Bandits fan, you're still riding high though. I got my jersey on, got my banner in the background. It's only team in Buffalo you could really trust. So, you know, ride the wave, ride the wave. I don't think they've lost a game yet.
They haven't. Ah, man, it just, will it ever end? Will the torture of this city ever end?
No,
I think
no.
the amount of times that JP said, I thought this was the year after the game ended.
I
It was a
genuinely
high
thought
number.
it was the year. I really not to win the Super Bowl. I'm not saying they're going to win it, but to at least get there. I was really convinced that this year felt different. Like
hmm
it felt different. It's
I had to take two separate walks around my apartment in between the games because I just couldn't. I had to
Surprised
step away.
I'm surprised you didn't just turn it off like usual.
I
yeah,
almost did.
yeah. I got a bone to pick with you.
Oh, here we go.
You
All
got a
right, lay
damn
it on me, buddy.
obligation to this podcast and to this brand to follow this hockey team.
And
And
I do.
I've heard rumors. I may have watched more Sabres hockey than you in the past week, and I've been studying.
That is false. That is completely
I
false.
the
Accusations.
one game you
Accusations.
didn't text at all. You definitely fell asleep.
You
One of the
you can always tell when Christian is watching a game.
Which game was that? I need receipts on this.
The
Which
probably
game
the
was
10
it?
o'clock. It was
I think
probably
it was
the 10 o'clock game.
Yeah, it was like the Calgary game or so. Do you have any recollection of that?
No,
And he's
I
leaving
do
games
because
early. You missed a goalie goal on the Sabres. You're really disappointing me.
no, I
Really,
did see
really
I
disappointing
did see the
me.
goalie goal
Yeah,
and the
on a
Calgary game.
TV
He was
in the
building.
lobby.
You
I
got the
was in the
stream
building.
delay.
I,
Disappointed me.
I did have a valid excuse for the Calgary game. I was at a beer league game.
Did you win?
We did win. Yes. Go Eagle Lions.
Disappointed.
Yeah, I'm
I
kind of
thought
with
Jonah
JP.
was. I thought Jonah would
Mm,
hold you to a higher standard, but I
mm.
had to say
Oh,
something
so this is all
first.
on Jonah now, JP.
I think it's on both of you. Yeah,
He
yeah.
comes back. He comes back and he's just like, who does he think he is?
JP,
Who is
Jonah
this
was on
guy?
your side and you attacked him.
I'm. Someone's got to lay down the law. Okay, someone's got to do it.
You've taken more excused absences from this pod. Your
Give me a
games,
break,
your
JP.
pods you've set out are probably you're like the Kawhi Leonard of this podcast. Like maintenance
No, he's
reasons
like the
every other
Zion
month.
Williamson of this podcast.
It's like, God, just pass the goddamn tests. Like, what's the holdup here?
Hey, Kawhi Leonard's got some championships though, so I like that comparison.
Well, too bad we don't in real life. So
Yeah. Anyways, welcome back to another episode of the Sabre Roundtable. My name is Jonah,
I'm Christian.
I'm JP.
and as always, we will be talking to you about all things Buffalo Sabres hockey and even a little bit of the wider NHL and even a little bit of the football team that yet again has suffered a heartbreaking loss that has ended their season, but let's put that behind us. We'll leave the fellas up at the Buffalo Sports Talk podcast to break that one down. I'm sure that they have plenty to say about that one.
Yeah, I don't want to rehash what I just watched last night. It's too fresh.
In Sabres news, first of all, if there's any Bills fans hopping on this and just trying to tune up the band, trying to hop on whatever is left of the wagon that the Sabres are on, I think two wheels might have fallen off. One is probably like on its last legs. The carriage is completely shredded apart, but we're still going. We're still going. There's about, what,
33 games.
33 games left in the season. The early trade deadline is coming soon with the Four Nations roster freeze. That's kind of being perceived as an early trade deadline. And then you got the actual NHL trade deadline, which I believe is March 1st, or it's at least the first week of March. So while this is, as I've put it, a very forgettable stretch of hockey, the dead season, as I've called it, it's that period that aside from probably Jiri Kulich doing cool things, nobody's going to remember these games. And we're all just kind of biding time until the trade deadline, or I guess, honestly, until right now, given some of the crazy shit that is kind of picked up behind the scenes here concerning a player in the NHL. But like I said, Bills fans, welcome aboard. We're not having a fun time, but we'll take you in, welcome you with open arms, and hopefully we can have some fun with some Swedish center rumors going around town right now.
I'll say if there's a time to kind of get back into the Sabres, it is the perfect time in the season. Before this weekend, there is nothing to talk about. Like absolutely nothing to talk about. There's at least stuff to talk about now.
I would just say hockey in general. You got the Four Nations coming up.
True.
You got
Four nations facing off.
Four Nations.
That damn
Thank
Sidney
you, Sidney
Crosby
Crosby.
commercial.
Thank you. We needed you to explain what was going on to us.
Did you see that's Jay Fresh's profile picture of him now?
Yes. So good. As you
Yeah.
were saying, though, Christian, didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just gonna say you got the Four Nations. Maybe you could. I don't know when it starts. I was gonna say you could use it as an excuse to not watch the Super Bowl, but I'd assume they wouldn't cross dates, or maybe they would. The NHL is really bad at marketing, so maybe they just accidentally put it on Super Bowl Sunday.
Honestly,
be surprised?
I would
No.
respect it. I would respect it. There's probably people looking for other stuff to watch this year.
Yeah, I say it every year when the Chiefs are in because it's just getting annoying. But I actually might not turn it on this year.
I don't
I
know,
might
man.
just go
It's
out
the
to like a restaurant and just
When's the Super Bowl? What's the
Isn't it-
date?
2 weeks from yesterday.
Is it the 16th?
No, it'll be like
No, the
the
week before.
9th, the 8th.
The
No,
9th.
it's the Four Nations starts on the 12th, so it starts after that. 12th to the 20th.
Anyways, as for the Sabres, it has been a forgettable stretch of hockey. They went on a West Coast swing, only picking up one win in those 4 games. Last time we recorded, it was before puck drop, before the Vancouver game. They did win that one, but would drop the subsequent 2 to the Calgary Flames and the Edmonton Oilers. The Sabres have now lost 4 of 5. They're currently 18, 26, and 5, and I believe they are second last in the NHL again. Or I don't even say again. I think that 30th. 30th. The Nashville Predators have passed the Sabres.
Ah, man. Welcome back. Welcome back to the basement. Who's the first overall pick this year, guys? Is it another left-handed defenseman?
It's looking like it.
It is looking that way. It is destiny. Not looking forward to the prospect profiles we're probably going to be doing soon.
Mhm.
Anyways, as for these games, we're not going to go too much into depth about them. We'll start, let's just start with like the one good story. There's one singular good story going around the team right now, and his name is Jiri Kulich, who is currently the first line center. The first line center for the Sabres and doing a pretty admirable job uh, in these 3 games that because I think he's first suited up for first line center in that Vancouver game. Obviously, he had a goal and assist in that game, and then he scored another goal against Edmonton. Him and like Zach Benson are like the 2 guys that just on a nightly basis, just are the only things that I'm really watching for at this point.
You see just Cousins falling off a cliff, and then you see Yuri Kulik on this upward trajectory, and you can't help being a little bittersweet about it, you know? I mean, you wish both of them were doing a better job, but props to Kulik stepping up into a first line center role, especially with Thompson still playing the wing because I assume he still has that aggravated injury that he can't really take face off. So, um, hey, you're out of it this season. You might as well give these younger players more of a litmus test, maybe a longer look. You're getting some answers in some departments. It's not the win department, but you're understanding where your capital should be allocated, maybe going into next season. So good for him. I'm I'm happy we may have found a new backbone in this center spine.
Hey, I just feel like he's all over the ice, like every game. Like there's a highlight of him on a big back check. Like he's been around the net. He's getting his hot shots off. He finally had a one-timer goal, which I think was the one thing we were probably waiting for him to unleash. Um, it's 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 encouraging to see. I mean, he was one of the players I think coming into the season. You know, the 3 of us were like, we wish he was on the roster, but there's really not a spot for him right now. And you got to kind of commend the Sabres for never setting him down. Like he did stay up, I think, the entire time, and he wasn't doing much at first because he was given like third and fourth line minutes. But once they elevated him, he has taken it and run with it. He has
Hmm.
been awesome. Like I love to see his game splits before he was elevated. Because I know he was even playing good for like probably a week or two before he really broke through with points. But his splits, these probably like last, I don't know, 15, 20 games. He's got to be close to maybe close to a point per game. I mean, that might be a little extreme, but I feel like he's the one guy who's consistently on the score sheet.
At the start of the season, yeah, like I think those first 2 Prague games, he was like third or fourth line. But do you remember the 2 bozos he was playing with in like that subsequent home series? He was
Wasn't
on the
it
he was on the left with
Sam Lafferty?
no, 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 no. It was he was remember he was with Cousins and Quinn. That's like who we started the year with. And yeah, it's just he kind of had to march through the mud to get to this point, and it's been great to see. I think it's just funny. Like there is nothing that would have stopped this from happening last year. He is really, I mean, look, it's another year in age, but his production in the AHL last year didn't take like a huge step. I don't think he took like massive steps as a player over the last year and a half. Does was he Would he have played as good as he's doing now? I mean, maybe not, but it feels like you could have gotten some sort of version of this Kulik last season, especially when they were dying for scoring, and it's just a little frustrating to look back on, but it's so good to watch him flourish now, and I think I've thought like several times during this streak, like how the hell did this guy go 12 spots after Noah Osland? Like I
How
know
do you get
this
passed by probably 25 teams he got
I
passed by?
I know the Sabres had him back to back on their boards, but like it's crazy. Like it's really nuts looking back at it that he fell all that way. And there was really no reason for it.
And it's also crazy that they took, yeah, well, yeah, they took Osland first, and then I remember that what was it, that Beyond Blue and Gold series or Sabres and Embedded, whatever it is. Adams was like freaking out. He was like, it's like I wanted
They
Kulich
tried to trade up
too.
for him
We got
several
to try and go
times.
up and get him, and then everyone passed on him. Hey, the drafting's good. It's just it's a young team still. That's the funny part about it. It feels like the team just keeps getting younger, and like it or not, young teams usually don't win a lot of games.
And that's the thing too. Jonas said the two guys he watches every night, Zach Benson and Jiri Kulich, the two youngest guys on the team.
Anyways, aside from Yuri Kulik, it's been, another tough stretch. I didn't think Rasmus Dahlin had the greatest road trip. The goaltending wasn't stellar aside from the Vancouver game. I mean, Levi's start in Seattle wasn't good. I didn't think Luukkonen was great against Calgary. Reimer was fine against Edmonton, but it's just kind of more of the same, and it's not. There's just not much to extrapolate from this. I guess the only thing I did want to bring up was against Calgary. Good God, the power play was atrocious. They had so many opportunities to, I mean, win that game or at least tie the game. I mean, what were they, 0 for 7? I mean,
0 for 6.
terrible. 2 shorthanded goals. The one was an empty netter, but still 2 shorthanded goals, and just a ugly, ugly night, and probably their worst game of the road trip. So truly the dead season we're in right now. It's just not. There is not much to take away from these games aside from the young guys playing well.
Which game was our highest XG game since what, 2017? Which
I
game
did
was
see
it?
that. That was the Edmonton game.
Yeah.
The Sabres had
we
like
played
They had like
5.
7, right? Wasn't it
I don't think it
super
was
high?
7. I think it was like 5.6 expected goals. Like 7's ridiculous. I don't know. I don't even know if any team's ever gotten a 7 in a normal 3-period game, but 5.6 expected goals, and they only got 2 out of it. A frustrating night. I have to say, I
Insane.
think I saw Jay Fresh's charts the other day. Their expected goals for, they're like 21st now. I mean, they're kind of starting to climb a little bit. It's,
Because of Jiri Kulich.
yeah, because of Yuri Kulik, but
Probably.
it's something, I guess, some sort of progression. I don't know. I really don't care. We all know this season's a wash. There's only one thing that has breathed any sort of life into like life right now in terms of this organization, and we're gonna get into it. So let's get the concern-o-meter out of the way. JP,
And I gotta say one thing before we get in the concern-o-meter.
okay, go ahead.
Jeff Skinner. Jeff Skinner scored.
It was automatic.
Who could have seen it coming?
Do you know how many
Who could have seen it
seconds
coming?
it was
king.
after the Sabres scored the
15.
opening goal? I think it was 15. It might have been like 16 or 17.
Because I was watching it.
I couldn't even tweet out like the goal tweet that
I
they
got
took the
the
lead.
I got the notification on my phone because I don't know if I was in the car because that game was over the weekend.
Ah,
So
well,
I might have been-
well.
surprise.
There
Hold
it
on.
was.
Hold on.
There it is.
Hold on. I got the Spectrum app on my phone just so I could watch these games.
While
and
you're
I got a
driving.
notification. I wasn't driving. I got the notification that said we scored, and usually Spectrum is like 15 to 20 seconds behind. So if I open it quick enough, I'll be able to like see the goal go in. So I'm watching it and I see the replay. I'm like, oh, sick. All right, we're up 1-0. And I'm like, all right, let me watch a little bit of this game. And then they immediately go down. I see Jeff Skinner score on us. I'm just like, all right, I think I'm at my destination now. And I was like, all right, that's enough.
Yeah, that was the lock of the century, and honestly, I was really happy to see him do it.
Yeah.
Because
I
like
agree.
he's being brought up in trade rumors, and like I'm sorry, please don't trade him. Do not just let him play in a playoff game, please,
Mhm.
please. It was cool to see him. Like, he was on the first power play unit with McDavid out as well, so that was
Well,
good
I don't
to
know
see.
if you want that.
No, I was kind of laughing at myself. He was starting to hover. He was hovering a little bit. They
He
had
was
him on the
floating.
wall. He wasn't bumper, so he wasn't going too crazy, but yeah, it was funny to see him out there for the power play. Brings back memories of me pulling my hair out. But yeah, I mean, speaking of no McDavid, I mean they held Draisaitl pointless. The broadcast said he had like a 12 game point streak at home, or it might have been actually way longer. And he shanked the empty net. Like he had a breakaway, or like a half break, and he missed the net. That's how his point streak ended.
Heard footsteps.
Something about the Sabres, man, and the Oilers star players. The lights are too bright.
It's the one thing we got out of losing McDavid. The hockey gods made a deal with us. The Oilers will not own you.
All right. It's America's favorite segment, the Concern-O-Meter. JP, welcome back. I'm very curious to hear your spin, your positive spin on this week of hockey.
Okay, I'm coming back strong. I'm at a 1 because what is there to be concerned about anymore? The season's over. There's nothing to be concerned about. Like, genuinely, why would anybody be worried anymore?
He brings up a good point.
I mean,
Good argument.
you do have a good point. I was
See?
kind of getting there last episode. I kind of brought mine down because I'm like, there's not really much to play for anymore. What is there to be concerned about, to be honest? That's how bad this has gone.
Exactly.
You can't even have this segment anymore. There's just nothing like to grasp onto.
This
We'll
segment's
just-
turned into a joke.
We'll all pick ones.
Yeah.
10 out
I'll
of 10 rage bait.
take
Everybody
the
just
one.
comes screaming into our mentions. It's like, what are you talking about? All right, fine. I'll put a little spin on it this week. How about the Elias Pettersson Concern-O-Meter?
In what context?
Yeah.
How
what's the
concerned?
context?
How concerned are you that they're going to botch this? Because it seems like they are the front runner, and it seems like they've had real conversations. It seems all signs are pointing to them possibly doing this. Like it seems like a coin flip right now, man.
Give me because Friedman reported on it, so he doesn't spin from fiction, which is nice. There's been other rumors floating around. The Sabres have come up multiple times. This is something that seems to have no financial repercussion to it. But I feel like I've heard this song and dance from Kevin Adams so many times, and it's like you get burned so many times, and then you get the one, like the Byram for Middlestat trade, you get the one little, fish thrown at you. I'm gonna go kind of like Dave Portnoy review style. We're going decimal points. I'm gonna go 7.8. That's how concerned I am they're gonna botch this. And by botch, I mean not get it done.
Do you think
I'm
if it
gonna
doesn't
write it
get
a
done, do you think it'll
7.8.
be their fault?
Yes.
How so? Because they're
As
holding out for
in-
that extra piece.
Yes. As in they wanted a prospect back and Vancouver said no, and then Kevin Adams hung up the phone.
God, it's much more complex than that. I know, but like if that was
I'm
ever,
sure it is.
like if it's like an Ehlers for Risto type situation where like the deal was on the table and they said no, I don't even know what I would do with myself. It wouldn't be pretty. JP, Pettersson Concern-O-Meter.
All right, I mean this genuinely. I'm gonna say a 3
Oh my god.
because, like,
Jerry
like-
Pagula's back, folks. Welcome back to the pod.
like seriously, like, if we don't do this and Kevin Adams misses out on this, where are we going as an organization? There's nowhere to go. Like, this is the only player that you can actually trade for because there's no trade. There's no move clause, no trade clause. This is like the only player you really can get. And if like, once again, if we don't make this move, where are we going? Like, what are you doing this offseason? Like, you have no choice. You have to make a trade like this. Like, your core is already blowing up in front of you. Pretty much two of the players you've committed long term to are almost sunk assets. They're almost sunk costs at this point. Cousins and Samuelson. Like,
Accounting terminology.
yeah, this is
This
a
guy
move.
knows his stuff.
This guy knows his stuff, folks. He's passing that exam.
You have to make this move. You just have to. Like, it doesn't matter what it takes. You have to make this move. And I will say, the last time I said this, it was a chicken move. I was way out of my league on that one. That was wrong. Like, we didn't need him as much.
Well,
But
I mean, is Chick? I feel like is Chikrin not literally Bowen Byram?
true.
I mean,
True.
they basically made the Chikrin trade, and honestly, at a better cost value, sort of. I mean, because remember, like, it would cost them Zach Benson and a second and a third.
It's true.
So
No, and JP, you make a good point too, because you're right. It's like the other thing that kind of points me in that direction too is that I don't know how this information got out that the financial restrictions were off. Like now you've shown Adams has shown his hand. It's like he can't just like hide behind false accusations anymore. It's like if everyone knows that Terry's giving you the green light for this and you don't do this, you got to start questioning incompetence.
isn't it so sad that that's like it's like, oh my God, like we can spend money, we can do this. The fact that that's it's like, oh my God.
And meanwhile, we're giving out a $2.5 million bonus to a pass rusher who hasn't performed nearly as to what we were gonna expect
Honestly,
out of him.
I don't know who you're talking about because that could
I have
apply
no
to a
idea.
few people.
Is it
Yeah,
Vaughn?
yeah, it's Vaughn.
God.
What did he get a bonus for?
He got that sack in that last
Oh,
game
yeah,
against
Oh, yeah. That's
against
right.
the Jets.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just congratulations. Take your $2.5 million and go back to Texas.
One of
Buddy.
my buddies, he's had it up. He's had it up to here with Greg Rousseau.
Okay, I know we're getting off top. We said we were going to talk about the Bills, but now I guess we are. Enough with the rotating defensive line. Get a front four that's out there every down. I don't need Von Miller coming in on a pitch count on third down to rush the passer and not get home. It's like get four studs and get Ed Russo and get an elite pass rusher to just draw a bunch of guys over to him. End of
And
rant.
get Elias Pettersson.
And go get Elias Pettersson.
I think I'm just at a straight 10 because this is the culmination of years of waiting and waiting and praying and watching the cracks begin to form in the Vancouver organization. I've wanted this for so long, so goddamn long. You have no idea.
This could be the most legendary hate watch of all time.
Dude, I am the biggest Blues fan tonight.
JT Miller had a Gordie Howe hat trick.
He did. What a great player. Like
You wouldn't
honestly,
trade that
he's
guy.
everything. He's the full package. I mean, he did everything tonight. Got his face caved in, but came back. He didn't Dylan Cousins it. He came back and he
He's a
scored a
culture
goal
guy.
and an assist. Culture guy. Like, how can you not love him? I am so nervous because like there's belief now. Like there's serious, serious, serious belief. Friedman's talked about it. Drager's talked about it. I mean, I know it's the fourth period, but the fourth period's talked about it. And then obviously you have the Chad article and some of his tweets where, my God, he said tonight in a tweet, it's 50-50. You can't tell me that. 50-50? Like, it's bad. Like, I have belief now, you know? Like, is it, like, I can't believe in my mind that it's going to happen, but now it's, like I'm gonna be waking up every morning being like, "Is today the day? Is today the day that it happens?"
This
Are
is
you,
like,
are you talking about a Bills Super Bowl, or are you talking about?
shut up.
Oh, Elias Pettersson.
This is my Super Bowl.
This is my-
Dude, we were still recording in person when we first started like mentioning
I
this.
know.
Whether it happens or not, it sounds like he's getting moved. Like no matter what, we have to make a montage out of every time Jonas said he's gonna be a Sabre. I want him to be a Sabre. All
You
this
know
stuff.
how much film we'd have to go through. We'd have to hire a team to just watch this show.
Yeah, I don't. It's crazy because I think the last time I was on too, like the
It
rumors
was
like
the
had
Save
come-
Us Pettersson episode.
Well, yeah, or maybe it was after that episode then, but it was like the rumors were completely dead with Pettersson. It was like JT Miller is getting traded. He's going to the Rangers. The talk of Pettersson really was done up until the blockbuster trade that happened on Friday. Like that's when everything changed because
Mhm.
supposedly Pettersson. there was people, insiders in the NHL, who thought Pettersson was a Carolina Hurricane.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
instead,
it came down to Carolina who they wanted to choose. They chose Rantanen. That's what it was. They didn't want to sign up for that 11.6 for 8 years. Rantanen, sure, you gave up Natchez and Drury, but if it goes south, if Rantanen really is like a McKinnon merchant, he can go to free agency, and you had an all-in push with him. I get it, and it's just like Carolina's out of the race, and like they've been the biggest player for Pettersson for years now. I mean, they were the ones that tried to trade for him at the deadline before he inked that extension last year. And my first thought, it's funny enough that okay, maybe not my first thought because it was an insane trade to just drop on a Friday night. But like my second thought was that's one last Pettersson suitor. Like Carolina is one of the few teams that can do it and has wanted to do it. Who else is there in the NHL? I mean, like Detroit has sort of been in that conversation, it feels like, but they can't add 11.6 million in season, and they don't have the pieces the Sabres have. Like I don't know. Like yeah, you can throw in like the Blackhawks or the Sharks. Like they can do it, but are they? Probably not. And I doubt the Canucks want to trade him in conference. So, man, I'm so nervous, man, because I want it to happen so bad. So bad.
I'm still waiting for the trade to break on the pod.
Me too.
We need a live pod break, bro.
Dude, two things are gonna happen. It's gonna break during this, and I'll lose my shit. Or we're gonna wake up tomorrow, and this whole episode's gonna be void. But who's gonna care? Because we're gonna record tomorrow and talk about how Elias Pettersson's a Buffalo Sabre.
we are so overdue for something to break on the pod. Like I listened to this one baseball podcast, Baseball is Dead, and they had if anybody follows baseball, Anthony Santander signed with the Blue Jays, and that broke during their pod, so they were kind of going crazy. Like we are overdue for something to happen. We've recorded so many episodes. Like it would be like I would love to see Jonah's reaction. That would be the most insane thing. Like I've seen his reaction on one thing, and that was a Taylor Hall signing. I remember when that happened, but Pettersson would be insane. But this is really the last time that I felt like this, where like I can't put down my phone because it could happen any second, was the Eichel trade era. Like this is reminding me of
I don't
that.
know. I feel like we got to a point where we put our phones down.
Well, I agree because it took so freaking long, but the rumors were crazy forever. It's like it could happen any day. It could happen any day. Like it's the same thing with this. Like you just saw a blockbuster trade. Like if Sabres are the front runner, the trade has to happen soon or they're going to lose it, basically.
Well, I think that's the other thing. It's
thinking.
kind of like
you're against the clock here.
It's kind of like that precedent, or like I don't know what phrase to use, but it's sort of like when I don't know. It's just like seeing someone do something else, so you feel more inclined to do it yourself. Like we just witnessed one of the biggest trades in NHL history, at least of this generation, possibly of all time, and that happened a week ago. So now anything feels fair game, and if anything, that's one less suitor for the Canucks to trade. I mean, look, even besides Pettersson, like they were a suitor for JT Miller. There was times where people thought he was destined for Carolina. I think that phrase was used at points. So, like they're gonna feel more inclined to. I can't feel like they. I feel like after all of this, Vancouver has to get a move done here, and we know that teams just don't want to give up a lot for JT Miller, and the locations are limited as is. And Pettersson, I'm sure he's just done with everything by this point. He's just sick of the drama, sick of the owner calling him out, sick of the fans calling him out, sick of everything. I mean, like if Pettersson does get dealt here, like there's going to be a lot to break down once we get past all the excitement. This hasn't been a good season. I think he's on pace for less than 60 points this year. I mean, that's insane. There's the injury stuff. There's the personality stuff. People are going to have problems with that. It's funny seeing the Pettersson and Miller discourse. Like it just reminds me so much of the power discourse, just how some fans treat him. And there's gonna be things to talk about in that regard. But kind of forgot where I was going with that, but it's
If
just
you're not taking chances as an organization, we're not going anywhere. I don't think
yeah.
Kevin Adams has really taken any chances these last few years. He needs to take a big chance here. He
I
need like
I think you
even
could call the Middlestat trade a big chance, but I know
well,
what you mean.
yeah.
That
This has
worked
never
out
been
too.
done. Like, because he's been in, like, I've defended him. Like, he was, like, the Chikrin trade came down to the wire. He gave the same offer, just with different protections, and Arizona went with Ottawa's offer. You
Who?
know, uh, redacted. He, apparently he was in on Robertson when he was an RFA. I don't know how deep into those negotiations he was, but apparently he called. He was sort of in on Timo Meyer at the time, but probably not as much, like not even close to it. He is as they are now. Like you're right. Like this is it. This is your one lifeline. This is it. This could go badly. Pettersson career could really just be forever hindered by whatever injuries he's had and like mental roadblocks, whatever it may be. But you don't have this chance. And even if Pettersson is like done for in terms like if he never hits that 100-point plateau again, um, even for one off season, like you're gonna get interest. Your core suddenly becomes Dahlin, Pettersson, Tage Thompson. Like that's something. That's something that other teams don't have.
Something to
And
build off of.
it's something. It's not gonna, it's not gonna make you a free agent destination, but it'll create intrigue. And if you couple that with like a
Hmm.
Jason Zucker extension and another trade at the deadline, I mean, even if they make this Pettersson trade, this is a cap neutral trade. You're trading two guys that,
Supposedly.
suppose if you're basing this off the idea that it's going to be the Cousins Byram template, which just it feels like a certainty. We knew Cousins was gone, but seemingly they have another second line center lined up, or at least a 2 and 3C combo in Kulich and McLeod that could maybe work. And you need a Byram replacement. You're going to need one. Um, like you probably won't be done at this deadline. You'll probably at least try something, I would assume. Who knows what they do with Jack Quinn or, Isak Rosen. Who knows what else would hold in store for the actual deadline. Like people can live with the rest of this season. I mean, I've already seen people talking about it. Like, if the Sabres get Pettersson, people are going to renew their season tickets. I mean, the next game, the first game that Pettersson plays in, even if it's like if it was tomorrow, like let's say it was tomorrow night against the Bruins, is that not selling out or at least getting like 18,000 fans in there?
It's getting a bump.
It's
I'd buy
getting a bump.
tickets. I would buy
Hmm.
tickets.
I would go. Like it's something. It's a good story. It's just something to create intrigue around a season that has none. Nobody cares. The Bills are, the season's over. And my God, I tuned into WGR and Joe DiBiase at one point was like, at least we got that hockey team, and it, obviously sarcastically, and that's how they ended the show. It's sad, man. It's very sad, and it would be something, just something to build on and give, because we've been talking about like, how do you build a message for next season? What do you promote to fans? What do you market to fans? You don't have anything lined up right now. But if you got Elias Pettersson, that's something. That is something this franchise has not had ever. Like if they traded for Pettersson tomorrow, where does that rank in all-time Sabres trades?
It's
In terms of
probably close to the
in terms of acquisitions.
it's probably close to the tier of, well, okay, in terms of acquisition. Well, I was originally going to make the Mogilny Michael Pekka trade type, but
Pekka's
a little bit
great, but
different.
like
A
when
little
Pettersson's
different.
at his peak, he is. He got Selke votes in his 100 and plus point season. At his peak, he's a better player than Pekka. Um, if you go back, like maybe like I don't know the day. I guess the LaFontaine trade would probably be like the
Hmm.
furthest you could go back for an acquisition.
Yeah.
At his peak, he's better than Briere. He's better than Drury. Um, it's just it would be insane. And I'm saying at his peak. Right now, is he better than like I mean, right now he's probably no better than, if we're talking about this season, than like Ryan O'Reilly in 2015, but like you're not trading Cousins and Byram and whatever else with the idea you're getting a 50-point center. We all know like you're biting on the upside, and it's something that everyone can look to and be like, shit, like I'm gonna tune in for the first month of the season next year, even if it goes south again. And it's a path they have not gone down yet. They have not had this big trade, since Taylor Hall. Like that was the last big acquisition. And before that, it probably was the Ryan O'Reilly trade.
That was 4 years ago. Or
It feels longer.
It's going on 5.
5.
It feels longer.
Yeah, it's going on 5 years.
Yeah. Unrelated. I saw a post. It was if Beatlemania started during COVID, they would break up this summer.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's Beatlemania?
That's actually the Beatles.
What's Beatlemania?
Oh, I have never heard it in that terminology before.
I haven't either, but
I guess.
quick thinking.
I thought you would, if you just said like, hey, if the Beatles got together and started touring, they'd be done by now.
Yeah. No, yeah. But yeah, all in a 5-year period. Yeah, time flies.
Like, this is their one lifeline. If you want any fan interest, this is your only lifeline. Like, if you miss out on this, imagine the discourse.
Yeah, because now it's too late. Like people,
then it's like get Kevin Adams out of Buffalo.
People are getting hyped.
It's like people like me. Like you got me back, you wrote me back in, and it's just more disappointment. Like if they miss on this, even if Vancouver says they're keeping him, and I mean, God, if they trade him to someone else, like that'll be it. The only other scenario, other than the Sabres getting him, is he better be staying in Vancouver. That is it. I don't care. You up your offer if he's going somewhere else.
Yeah, you don't lose this trade. You don't get outbid this time. This time you do not get outbid. And if that means giving an extra pick, losing protections on a pick, giving an extra prospect, you do it. We're done. We're done with the playing it safe here. Like you gotta do this for the fans. You gotta do this for the team. You have to do this for
the city.
I don't know, the city. The city. You gotta
for the
say
kids.
This.
For the children.
For the children. Someone think of the children, please. Kevin Adams, think of Kids Day. It could be so glorious one of these times. They could win. They don't have to scar the kids with loss after loss after loss because Elias Pettersson's going to be putting the puck in the net.
Imagine a center spine, Pettersson,
and
Tage or Kulich. Like Tage could be on the wing if we get Pettersson. So your center.
You could make David Draisaitl it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Your centers at least are your options: Pettersson, Tage, Kulich, McLeod. I don't see that actually being their center spine because I think all three of those guys are top 2 line guys. So someone's going to be thrown with somebody. But like, imagine that center spine.
Be nice.
Yeah,
dreaming big right now. I keep refreshing my Twitter as we speak,
nice.
Just hoping for a trade.
Who's going to break it? Even if it's not the Sabres, who's going to break it?
That's a good one.
Okay.
That is a good. Oh man. I mean, dude, it was crazy because the Taylor Hall trade goes down, and everybody's reporting on it like, hey, Taylor Hall to Carolina, like all this is happening, and then it's breaking. Frank Saravalli. It's like in addition to Taylor Hall, the Canes are getting Mikko Rantanen. Like I don't even know, like how do you? Because like when trades get broken, you can only assume that it's like the agents sending out that like, hey, this player's on the move. It's like, how does Saravalli get like first crack on the Rantanen stuff? Just
you got to be in some
crazy.
Very inner circles just to be the first one to break any of that stuff.
Yeah,
I mean,
and it's crazy. You have to be so sure.
Yeah, you have to be sure.
Arson Judge it with the Giants. Like
Arson Judge is headed to San Francisco. Is he still on the way?
Elias Pettersson is headed to Detroit.
Elias Peanut Butter is heading to
the other Elias Pettersson is getting traded.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I've seen those jokes. Like, oh, what if Terry just wanted the other one?
Goofy antics
or what
ensue.
if they accidentally called for the wrong guy?
They're like, You're giving up all this for him? Sure.
Oh, you wanted the other? No, no,
Oh,
we're not.
sorry.
No,
No,
we're
no
not
take,
doing that.
no take backs.
No take backs. We already said yes.
Imagine we mentioned the Four Nations. Imagine going into the Four Nations, we trade for Pettersson, and we got Donnelly and Pettersson playing together for the first time, but it's on a different team.
Why would you why would you bring something up? Like now I'm gonna think about that. Now I'm gonna think about this.
Yeah,
I mean, there's
it'll be
also like
incredible.
I feel like if I'm Kevin Adams, like I'm calling Rasmus Dahlin into my office and I'm being like, you got to sell this guy on Buffalo. Like I know,
You don't have to sell him though.
well, I
has
feel
no
like you should
choice.
though. I feel like no,
Well,
I know, but like
yeah,
I feel
you
like you
should.
should
Yeah.
like get him excited. You know, if anything, like I don't know, like if Canucks management is fed up with the bad PR they've been getting, this can be a smooth exit. Like you can give Pettersson the team that he maybe wanted, have him go and play with his countryman. I don't know. Just I'm at least telling if I'm Kevin Adams, like I'm telling Rasmus, like, hey, just talk to the guy about the Sabres and try to sell him that this isn't as bad as it seems, even though it very much is.
Tell him about the grass lot, Rasmus. Tell him about how good everything could be if you
I mean,
come
guys,
here.
like guys are weird. It just comes down to wins and losses, you know. That's what it is. Like,
And there's
it,
plenty of one
well,
over here.
I know, but it's like Jason Zucker, he reportedly wants to stay, and it's like, why would he? Like we talked about this.
hmm
Guy is playing the best he has in years. He's gonna probably up his value if he were to hit the free agent market, and he's playing for Buffalo in like a historically bad season, and he's just, I don't know, chemistry's weird. It's just,
hmm
once you get guys into your locker room, anything can happen.
Seems like
So,
everyone
like,
likes each other, even though they're not winning.
I remember, I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was like a 2 week period where it was talked about, like Taylor Hall sort of was open to an extension. You know, shit went south really fast, but he was open to it. I mean, that they are. Stuff's weird. You know, we joke about the warm climate stuff, but listen, this isn't football where it's like southern teams are big. Like, where do you think half these people grew up in? Florida or like Minnesota or New York? Like, they grew up in this weather. They
Most
grew
of these
up.
are displaced fans, yeah.
Or Finland or Sweden. Like all these other foreign guys, they're not living in tropical climates.
Yeah, it's not understood because like yeah, people move to Florida. They want to go to warmer climates. It exists. I'm just saying like it's not for everybody. At the end of the day, it's wins and losses.
It ain't for me. It ain't for me. I'm Buffalo, born and raised. I will always be in Buffalo.
JP will take the 140-mile-an-hour winds we got going on outside here
Yeah,
tonight.
I feel like my room's about to cave in.
Dude, I was walking between my buildings at work, and it was just like a it was like getting hit by a tornado. Like
Imagine the
insane.
wind tunnel right now walking to the Sabre Stadium.
Oh,
You already know
down
how bad that
Perry.
wind tunnel is.
God.
Regardless, imagine it right now.
I don't care if Elias Pettersson is suiting up for the Sabres that night. Nothing will get in my way. Absolutely nothing.
I keep looking at my phone, man.
I hope this isn't the peak. You know, like I really hope it's not, man.
No, me neither.
God, I want it to happen so bad.
Do you think
I-
there's a chance that, Terry Bagula was in Kansas City, saw a heartbreak, and then he called Kevin right away. He was like, "Get this done. Like you got to do it."
Absolutely
I
not.
think that I don't know, man. It's
feel like-
weird how after the loss, then you start to hear all the rumors start to come out that
true.
Kevin Adams is making a push.
It's a good point.
Terry lost some playoff revenue.
Do you know
Maybe
how
he's trying
much?
to make up for it
Do you know how
somewhere.
much ass kissing he probably had to do to get him to give him the green light to spend?
Well, all he had to say was,
I mean,
"This
because
is
it came out.
This is a neutral trade."
I was listening to one of the Canucks main insiders. He had like a segment. He's like the main guy. Like he knows a shit ton about the inner workings. It's like Dolly Wall or something. Yeah. Everybody has probably seen his reports, even if they can't put a face to the name. But he was saying how like Buffalo called early in the season, like when he was struggling. Like we're talking probably mid to late October. Like they have been in on this from the start. I think Drager confirmed that. I'm trying to pull up the notes that one Canucks account was talking about. Yeah, Buffalo Sabres sources have acknowledged they've been in it from day one and will stay in it until told otherwise. Like they've wanted him from the start, and you kind of got to think about it. Like day to day, like your boss is not always in like the day to day operations of your job. You do
Right.
your job and then you take something to him and you ask for input. So like I I think we're past that barrier now because apparently the green light's been given, but there's a very realistic chance like they could have had a trade done and ready in November, but the final sign off has to go to the owner. And you got to explain the financials and you got to explain the signing bonuses and all that and whatnot. And
Show him the analytics. I'm sure Terry loves his analytics.
I'm not, I'm willing to bet they never got close like that, but it was a possibility, and I'm sure this has taken time to like sort of sell him. And, it works out because Cousins and Byram, like it makes the trade cap neutral, right? Like Terry's not losing much money aside from the signing bonus, but you dip into your pockets one time, or I forget what the signing bonuses are lined up, but you know, bonuses are weird. I think you can pay them like differently. I think I don't know. I'm no cap guru, but
Arguably, you're winning like the money go around because Cousins is 7.1. Byron's probably like 5 or 6, and Pettersson's 11.5. That's above Pettersson. Like I feel like you're kind of winning it in that stance.
Dude,
if you're Bowen
go ahead.
Byram and you're trying to extend in Buffalo, like you're probably asking for 7. It's probably up there, and you're playing with Rasmus Dahlin and on the top pair, so yeah, I think he's no less than like 6.5.
I can't believe we have to have these conversations about finances from the guy who was like,
God, it
there will be
sucks.
no
They
financial
just have to. They
restrictions.
just have to do it. Like think about it. Like if they just, it still takes a ton of luck because like if you get Pettersson, it's cap neutral, but you got to replace Byram, and it's probably going to be expensive. Like I don't know if we can talk about like the Pittsburgh rumors that Friedman brought up in 32 Thoughts. Like that's a minor thing, but that's also not nothing. He's bringing up that Pittsburgh's interested in some young Buffalo guys. I mean, let's say, maybe it's like a Michael Bunting, like we've talked about numerous times, but what if it's Marcus Pettersson? The other Pettersson. He needs an extension, and he's very, very good. He's not cheap. So, you're probably talking about cutting corners somewhere else. Maybe it's, I would imagine Jordan Greenway's on the way out, but even then, he doesn't affect next year. Like, if you got somebody like Marcus Pettersson, you're probably buying out Matthias Samuelsson for sure. So, yeah, it sucks. Like, it sucks so bad that you have to dance around these corners, find these loopholes, but we all know they just got to do it once. It's an awful, terrible, embarrassing attitude to have that they have to prove to their owner that they're worth spending money on. I hate it. It makes me furious just thinking about it. But it's the reality they have to play with, and this path right here, is their only path to getting a superstar potentially without really affecting the finances. And I think that's just you cannot pass up this opportunity because your only other chances at a star this offseason are, I mean, you'd have to pay Mitch Marner. I mean, Mikko Rantanen and Mitch Marner are going to probably make a combined $28 million. They're probably going to get like the same contract. And you are not dishing out $14 million. Or, even if they come under market value, like they're still no less than 12 and a half. And you're not giving that to them. There's just no chance. And to get them here, you would have to up that offer. It sucks, but you have to strap Elias Pettersson in that straitjacket, fly him over to Buffalo, and force him to play here. And force him to
You
love it.
you will like it.
So
You will like getting booed.
so I just want to talk about this all day, but like I said, I don't want this to be like the high point. I don't want this to be the peak of the conversation. God damn it, make it happen, please. Because
Realistically,
I will be very angry if they don't.
realistically, how long do you think we got before this starts to come back on the downswing?
Uh,
Well, like we said, Four Nations is the 15th, so you got
Yeah, I
2 weeks
mean,
pretty much.
people are proclaiming Four Nations as like the trade deadline. I don't really understand the logic of that. I guess it's maybe just because I don't know. It's like a 2 week, like you're almost like jumping ahead in time. Like as soon as Four Nations ends, it's oh shit, we're basically in March. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know. It's
I mean,
weird. Or maybe
for
it's like,
me,
all right, go ahead.
sorry, I was gonna just say for me, it's gonna be like 96 hours. Like once Rob Ray night comes around, like there's been a lot of talk about this, and it seems like it from what I'm hearing, it's heating up, or it's supposed to be. I'll give it until Friday, and if it goes radio silent, I'll probably start to lose some hope.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Sox Friedman didn't talk about it in 32 Thoughts today at all. Um, I don't think Merrick talked about it on his show. Doesn't mean it doesn't mean I mean we know it's still heating up. It just you know it's one of those like the Rantanen thing came out of nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. Like we knew they were probably headed for a divorce, that he wasn't going to sign there, but it came out of nowhere. And then it came out that Pettersson was going to be traded as well. So I don't know. Don't look for insider info or like, stay tuned for it. But if it's not red hot, if they're not talking about it every second over the next few days, it doesn't mean this ship has sailed. And trades are weird. We trades are like a snowball effect. You pick them up you start them here and it rolls down the hill and it ends at a distinct point. Maybe it goes dead, and then maybe at the deadline the Canucks are in a much worse spot, and they suddenly call Buffalo and say, "Hey, that offer that you made like a month ago, can we revisit that?" And then you're in business. The Tomas Hertl trade was that last year? Was that last year's deadline? I think it was. Yeah, I mean, with minutes remaining in the trade deadline, Tomas Hertl just out of nowhere gets sent to Vegas. So don't lose hope. I'm not talking to you guys. I'm talking to myself. I'm trying to tell myself not to lose hope here.
You're spiraling.
All right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to really touch on. I feel like that's basically everything Sabres related. Um, I'm kind of hockey talked out. Um, I don't know. Just feeling a bit under the weather too, so I don't know. You can tell my voice is sort of feeling it as well. But I powered through because this was an important episode, and that's that. Any closing thoughts on the Pettersson discourse?
Do it.
Just get her done.
Just do it.
All right.
I had one quick thought on that blockbuster trade that happened Friday. The fall from grace for Taylor Hall. I mean, he was just like thrown in this trade. Like
I mean,
Chicago got nothing. Chicago got I don't even, what was Chicago even doing in that?
you got to remember, man, Taylor Hall's no spring chicken anymore. He's been in the league for like 14 years. He's he's like in his early mid 30s now. He's past his prime. It's not what he used to be. Thought you were getting some of that prime when he was in Buffalo for that half a season, but it is what it is. It's just, it's just time.
So when you look at the past three Taylor Hall trades, Sabres got the best trade.
And
They got
Anders
dumped.
That's
Bjork.
true. Yeah,
Second,
that's true.
they got a second round pick and a roster player.
And we got Bjork pilled for a little bit.
Yeah. Just wish they picked. Unfortunately, they picked Kisakov with that second round pick, but who cares? It's all about the trade value.
Mm.
So, yeah. I mean, first game he was on the fourth line, which is crazy. That's just not who he is. All this, I mean, honestly, like I don't think it changes much for Carolina. I really don't. Like I feel like Rantanen is just a beefed up Marty Necas. Like I really like Aho's a phenomenal player, but he's not Nathan McKinnon.
Mm-mm.
And I think Rantanen very much benefited from playing with Nathan McKinnon.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. Probably another second round exit from Carolina, or they will get swept in the conference finals yet again.
I had another final thought. I feel like Jonah will know this reference. I feel like I'm Tyler Milliken with all my final thoughts right now, but um, call up Roseanne. What do something like give him a chance. Like the season's done. He's the best performer in the Amerks right now. Like you got to see what you have with him. You have to. Like I I don't think any of us think he has a future with the Sabres, but you have to show what he can do in the
To other
NHL.
teams.
Yeah, exactly. Like give him a chance. Like a legit chance. Stop bring him up. Throw him on the fourth line for 5 games and send him back down like they did last year.
Yeah, I
Give him a
mean,
chance.
Mm.
Like he's been their best player this year. And he's playing better now. I think what's their coach's name again?
Leon.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he talked about how he wants more out of Roseanne and how he hasn't been playing as good as I think he can. And I think he's starting to come around to that recently. Like, give him a chance. Call him up. The season's done. It doesn't matter. See what you could get out of him. And you know what? Maybe he does shine. Like, maybe if you put him with Kulich, maybe you have something. I don't know. But, like, give him a chance. That's really the only guy from the Amerks that I really think should get a shot this season. Other than, I think Kozak should also be up here. And he might be because ABK just got waived.
Or
But
that could be something else.
it could be.
Making room? Question mark.
I rate, dude. Like everything is making. I tweeted about today. Like Kevin Weeks broke the Middle Stafford Byram trade. Like as I was leaving the house last year, and like I just every time I see because he always starts his tweets like it's super long.
With the stars.
Well, it's like stars, and then like he has like a super long intro, and when you see the notification, the end of the tweet, it's not in there. So he's got to open it up. You got to hold your breath while the app is loading, and then today it's like Fenway Sports Group is selling a minority stake. Like, screw you, man. Screw you. Report some actual stuff.
Was that true? They're selling a minority stake?
Yeah, I think they're looking into it with the Penguins.
So I like to hear that as a Red Sox fan. They're saving up for something.
Oh yeah.
Saving up for a whole lot of mid.
That's actually good for the Penguins because the Fenway Sports Group has sucked
They're
the
awful.
last few years.
That's
So
terrible.
that's good for the Penguins.
So bad. Yeah. Did we ever answer the question about who we thought was going to break the Pettersson trade?
No?
We kind of just speculated, but
Does
no one
anybody
really gave
know-
answers.
Does anybody know if Pettersson has a younger brother that's living in Andrew Peters' house?
I was going to say, he broke the last big trade. I mean,
Yeah, I
He
wonder
could.
how. I wonder how. Luke Tuck was like taking a residency in his basement. Like, yeah, no shit. He heard about it first.
hey, you get your sources.
Hey,
where you
game is
get your
game.
Sources.
Game
That's
is
right.
game.
That's right.
Game is game. I hope
I'm
it's
gonna
somebody
go-
random. I hope it's like,
Bob McKenzie. Give me Bob McKenzie.
oh, dude, if we
You're
got
on the OG.
a Bob McKenzie trade break, oh, that'd be awesome.
He better be making a video of him making a margarita. And he's just like Weeksy, like breaking it just in a random location. He just turns the blender on and you can barely
Takes-
hear him over
Takes
it.
a sip. Pettersson to the Sabres. No, you know who owes this fan base? Bucci Gross. Because he broke the Taylor Hall trade at like midnight the day before the trade deadline. Ruined my sleep that night. Awful. Awful, awful. He owes us.
Hmm.
Any picks,
We will
GP?
see.
I'm gonna say Frank Spaghetti. I'm gonna say Spaghetti. Isn't he TSN Canada guy? Am I right there?
No, he's just his own thing. Just daily face-off.
Hmm.
Just independent.
Well, I'm gonna say Spaghetti. I don't. He might not say. Like, I think it will be similar to the trade Friday. He's not gonna be the one who breaks that there's a trade happening, but that I think he's gonna break
Yeah.
what's actually happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know.
Or, I mean, maybe Chad DiDomenicis. Buffalo
been a bit.
guy.
It's been a bit.
It's been a bit since he
think the
broke
last-
the trade.
I think it might have been the only trade he broke, but he broke the Cahoon trade. I do remember that.
The Cahoon trade. Oh my God.
Yeah. I do
Everyone
remember
was I was so pissed when we didn't re-sign him. Thank God we didn't do that.
Yeah. Where is he now?
Probably Germany.
that. I was about to say some German B League. Yep. I hope so. I hope it's a local person, even if it's Lance or Mike, even if it's Paul Hamilton, somebody.
Give
That'd
me
be
a
awesome.
P-Ham and
P
give me a
Ham breaking
P-Ham.
it. That'd be incredible.
Just some local person. Or what if it's Jeremy White's super secret Sabre source?
Super secret Sabre source.
When was the last time we heard anything from that?
I don't think he works for the organization anymore.
No.
Hey,
He went radio silent after Bloody Tuesday in 2020.
Oh my God.
oh jeez. Hey, maybe it'll be us.
We did have some Lindy stuff at the time.
We did.
Just a little
We
bit.
did. We
Just a
had
little bit.
we had a little insight.
We're starting to get a few nuggets here and there
Here and
from sources out there.
Heard some stuff this summer. Some guys they were in on, and
It's kind of interesting though. It's kind of cool being on the other side of it. Just even if it's in like in a very, very microscopic scale.
super small, super. Heard it from a friend of a friend, but you can still pinpoint it, and it's nice to know.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I think that's good enough for this one. Not really much else to touch on. How about a quick little checking in with old friends? Will Borgen just made $20 million.
Good for him, man.
5 by 4.1. He was a throw-in in the Capo Caco trade.
Has he really been that good with the Rangers?
Apparently. It might just be PR. You want to know something? That's what a Yoki Haru 5-year deal would look like.
Oh my God, get him off my team.
Did you guys like my 2017-18 Sabres to 24-25 Sabres comparison?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
It makes sense. It makes sense.
Spot on.
It's
History
gonna be
repeats
this
itself.
is gonna be one of those forgotten years.
not
17,
if we
18,
trade
and
for Elias
24, 25.
Pettersson.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, Pettersson could be equivalent to Tage Thompson because they
True.
traded. There you go. There
True.
you go. Who let me
The
cook?
dots are connecting.
Who let me cook?
Dots are connecting. Jonah was ahead of the curve.
Yep. All right, folks. I hope to God the next time we talk to you, Elias Pettersson's a Buffalo Sabre. God, I hope it happens. But until next time, thank you very much for listening. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at the Sabre Report, also on Instagram, TikTok. TikTok's alive.
Don't
TikTok.
delete the app.
Don't delete it, yeah. And if you need some cash flow right now and you have TikTok on your phone, you can sell it for some good money. Going
You
right.
gotta get rid of a phone, man. Yeah.
You can follow us on TikTok, Bluesky, wherever. If you watch us on YouTube, thank you very much for listening. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. If you want updates for the pod, you can follow us at Sabre Report Pod. Go give our friends over at the Buffalo Sports Talk podcast a listen. I think they're recording tonight. I think their post-mortem is tonight, or it's going to be this week. We did watch the game. JP and I watched the game with Hagen and Max. They do great stuff
And
over
Dersh.
there. And Dersh
Dersh
too.
is regular.
That's right. I don't know about regular, but every so often.
He's become a regular.
Yeah.
I feel like he's more and more. I mean, John's basically gone, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna take his
He's
spot.
radio silent.
Yeah, go give them a listen. They're gonna have a lot to say about what the Bills do from here, and I'll give them credit. Why you should go listen to them. Last year when they lost to KC, they put out an episode that night, and it wasn't depressing, dark, pessimistic. All they talked about was how hopeful they were for the next year and how they felt really good, and it ended with another Kansas City loss, but how spot on they were about how good of a season it was and how good the team did. So they know their shit. They know what they're talking about. And there's a lot to unpack with this Bills offseason. So I would implore you, go give them a listen and stay tuned with them for the entire offseason.
And how wrong Jonah was.
Oh, my God. So for people that don't know, their hot take episode, before the season started, JP sent hot takes in, Christian sent hot takes in, and I did. And these were like my main points. I think I said they were going to finish third in the division. I definitely said they were going to finish 9-8, and that it just kind of felt right. They were going to be a 500 team. Josh Allen wasn't going to let them be a losing team, but they're going to be 9-8. And the one singular thing I said that was going to be great coming out of this year, everybody was going to be hyped and excited about moving into next year, was Dalton Kincaid. And I said he was maybe even going to be a top 5 tight end by the end of the year.
Oh, for
Oh for awful, terrible.
tough.
And I thought it was working. I thought it was just my jinx powers at work in a good way. Like, look at this great season there. They might win the Super Bowl because of me. And then the last play of the year goes down to the one guy I said was going to be good. Awful. Awful, awful. So, go give them a listen. Great, awesome stuff. And I guess we'll see you guys next time. JP, welcome back. It was good to have you back. It was. I'm a little concerned about Jesse's whereabouts, but hopefully he'll
Me
turn
too.
up somewhere.
He is fine.
He will be back. Even if he signs off for a little bit, he'll sign off on here first. So
Good.
So, with that, folks, thank you very much for listening. We'll see you next time. And as always, go Sabres.
Go Sabres.
Go Sabres.